Hello, I'm Christina with The Turned Leg. I love to salvage, repurpose, and create and help others to do the same. I'm also a booth owner, and I've had a booth or two at Plaza Antiques and Collectibles Mall in Lincoln Park, Michigan for over 6 years now. And I've learned a lot, but when I first started, I had no clue what I was doing. I was a full-time middle school science teacher, and I learned along the way, and there were not too many resources out there. So I have made a collection of videos sharing what I have learned along the way. It is the end of the year, and although it has been quite a whirlwind, and I'm sure you are exhausted, it is now one of the most important times for a booth owner. It's really important to end your year strong and to plan for the next year. So I have some tips that I'm going to share with you, and these are all things that I am doing myself too, to kind of get things really ready to do your very best in 2022. The first tip I have for you is, what's your goal? If you're watching this video and you have a booth and it's just a hobby, this is not the video for you. This year I made a very big decision to retire from teaching and do this full-time. So this is now a full-time business. Before it was a side gig, but now I'm doing this for income. So the next tips that I'll be sharing with you are for people who are doing this to earn income and are creating a business from their booth, or maybe even hoping to in the future. So you've decided this is your business, and now you really have to act like a business, and you gotta do the hard stuff. In my house, we call it eating the frog. You always should eat your frogs first. No idea where that saying came from. If you happen to know, comment down below, but it works really well to get the icky stuff out of the way. And as a business owner, one of the icky things is, you guessed it, the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Yep, we're talking financials, we're talking profits and loss. I highly recommend that if you are doing this as a business, that you have someone giving you additional financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a tax planner. In fact, I have someone too on my side who's advising me. But one of the things I've discovered is a new app called Wave, and it is free, which I love, and it is a great way to keep your business organized and to kind of keep an accountant with you at all time, and it works automatically. I get no money for talking about this company at all. It's just what I use and love, and I want to share that information with you. In order for Wave to work the best possible, it is very important that you have a banking account set up for your business. And you probably will want to have some sort of a charge, debit card off of that account so that you can keep your personal money and your business money completely separate. Wave will be tracking your business account. So if you're only using that account and that card to make withdrawals and deposits, everything is tracked automatically for you. How simple is that? Every once in a while, you'll need to log into your account and kind of assign categories to some of the items, but Wave is really cool because as you're doing this, it learns your categories and it will automatically designate them. It is a great app, especially for those of us that feel a little less self-confident about being really good at accounting skills. Wave does it for you. One of the most important things, I think, for a booth owner is to know your profit and loss. Are you making any money in all of this? It's scary, and I didn't like to really do it that much, and I wasn't really sure how to set it up. But once again, with the Wave app, once you have all of your categories assigned and you reconcile all of your ins and outs for the month, it will provide you a snapshot graph of your profit and loss. And so you can really dig into it more if you want, or you can just look at it to get a general idea. Am I making more than I'm losing? How am I doing? If you're using the Wave app year after year, you can go back and compare one year to the previous year to kind of get an idea. Oh yeah, June, July, and August are always slow. It's not just me this year. Wave really gives me a peace of mind and gives me that little extra support I need to feel confident about being successful with my business finances. Another thing you need to look at is your booth sales, however it's delivered to you. If it's digital, if it's a hard copy, you really need to look at it more than just taking your check or scanning the bottom to see how much you made. You need to take a look at least at two things. What are your top sellers? That is so important because those are items you want to make sure you're constantly stocking in your booth. If color blocking books are huge, make sure you always have a really good supply of those so that you can restock whenever you need. You want to make sure to always have some of those very popular items on hand or be on the hunt for those because you know they're going to sell well. Another thing you want to look at, and this is especially important if you do wholesale, is what is not selling. Do you have something you've had for a really long time and you haven't sold anything? You really need to think, do I need to consider selling this? Do I need to liquidate it? Do I need to do a sale? What can I do to make some money on this item that's taking up space? You got to keep your receipts, and I'm horrible at this. I need to come up with a better system. I now have a wallet that has two sections in it. And so it has a section that is for cash, and it has a section where I can put my receipts. And I'm really trying to work hard. I now know where the receipts go when I'm out, so they're not going to just get stuffed in my pocket or in a bag and get lost. I also have a container now in a desk at home specifically for receipts. So I'm really going to try this year to get in the habit of dumping those things there. The Wave app is really going to be tracking all of my spending if I'm using a card instead of cash, so I don't have to really worry about those, but the receipts are important for the items that aren't tracked that way, that are cash only, and they're also really important for tax time. So if you come up with a system for the beginning of the year, you'll be saving yourself a big headache later when you've got to do your taxes. Another thing I do, and I'm going to expand upon, is what I call the monthly roundup. I take a look at all things with my business. Remember, numbers don't lie, and sometimes it's scary. So the Wave app is really good with the financials, but if you are on social media, if you have a website, if you are on Pinterest, all of these usually have some sort of analytics that you can be tracking. If you're on YouTube, you can be tracking that information too. And what do? Well, I have a form. I have a worksheet I came up with, and I track just a few things I think are important. You can track as much or as little as you want, but things you want to pay close attention is what's doing well, what's working, and what's not working, and what's your plan for next month. So make some sort of a document, an Excel form, and you know what? I will share what I do down below. Also, make sure you reflect what's working, what's not working, what do I need to fix? The last part of numbers don't lie is you need to start paying yourself. Where should you start, right? How much do you need? Well, that's personal, but some good starting spot is 10% of your profit. After you've paid all your bills, what do you have left over? 10% of it should go to you. Keep that in mind and maybe start drawing it out. Even if it's just a little bit of money, that is your payment for all your hard work. You should not be working for free. We do enough work, don't we? It's nice to get some sort of a little payment out of your business. Are you enjoying this video? If so, give it a like. And please subscribe to my channel. Also, click the bell for notifications every time I upload a new video. It really helps me to continue to help others to salvage, repurpose, and create. Once you've looked at all the numbers, the next part to consider is, do I need to make more money or am I doing good? Wherever you're at, you need to know, and that's why it's so important to pay attention to all of the numbers. My third tip, this goes along with the whole, do I need to make more money? But even if you're doing good, it's really important to pay attention to the free or already paid for inventory that you have that you need to get to your booth so you can make more money. I think every booth owner has a stash at home that is just gathering dust. And if you need more help on organizing your space, I have a video called Organizing Your Space where you can see what my basement storage area looks like. I give you tips and tricks on what I do, and probably I'll need to be doing a little organization again sometime soon because it's been quite a while. This is not a one and done thing. Keeping your space organized is so important. Items do not make you money if they're not priced and in your booth. So if you have stuff just laying around that can go to the booth, get it in there. If it's damaged, fix it. If you can't fix it, pitch it, salvage it, use what you can. I have been shocked lately that the claw feet for table legs have been selling like hotcakes on my website. And so I've had a lot of broken tables that were just too wobbly that I really couldn't save. I've just been popping the claw feet off of them, and I'm making money on something that would have just been tossed out because I couldn't have saved it. Look for what you can do to make money on what you have. You've already paid for it, so it's kind of like free inventory. Price it or pitch it. That's my advice. Finally, this is something I am not gonna do. I have convinced myself, and that is, do you have a storage unit? We have to be brutally honest here. I've talked to many dealers, and many of them are paying so much more in rent for a storage unit for items they can't even make money on. I know everyone has personal reasons why they might have a storage unit. Maybe you just got an awesome haul and you just need it to go somewhere for a little bit so you can make some space in your booth, and that's fine. And I think storage units should be temporary, but you need to get rid of those storage units. They're just costing you money and you're not making money on them. If you have a storage unit, you might want to think on, what should I do? Am I going to keep it? Am I going to purge it? Do I need it for a few more months? Maybe you even need a bigger booth space so you can bring those items in and start making money. I have to tell you, I was a middle school science teacher, so I'm all about the data, even though it can be scary. That's why numbers were so important. But number 4 is you need to be a spy. Okay, maybe not really a spy, but you need to gather as much data as you can to kind of find out where you're at. And this can be accomplished in a lot of ways. One of the best ways to gather data is to be a customer at your mall. Walk around, shop, see what you notice, what you don't notice, what you like. Check prices. Oh, they have that item I have in my booth. How does it compare? Are they selling things a lot cheaper than I am? Am I selling things too cheap? The other way you can gather data is to talk to other dealers. I am so lucky at Plaza Antiques and Collectibles Mall. The dealers there are absolutely wonderful, and everybody really works together to make the mall an amazing place, and it shows. And dealers talk to other dealers. They share what's working and what's not. You do have to be a little careful to be polite about numbers and finance, and usually you kind of talk generally, but it's a great idea to talk with someone else to see, hey, how are you doing? Or, what's selling? What's doing really well for you? What are you having a hard time finding? What are things you like to put in your booth? Do you have any tips for the newbie? Usually other dealers are willing to share some information, and that can be extremely valuable. Another thing you should do while you're pretending to be a customer, or even if you just have some free time to just kind of stand around, is to watch the traffic flow at the mall. If you're located in a really small shop, this might not be a big deal because they'll probably go to all of the booths in the small shop. If you have a larger space like Plaza Antiques, there's quite a few rooms, and sometimes by watching the traffic flow, you can see which way the customers walk first. Do they avoid areas? Why do they avoid areas? Find out, do they shop first? Do they shop last? Do you hear comments like, oh, I'm not going in there. There's too much stuff in there. I might break something. Listening and kind of being a spy in the mall will give you a ton of information. Also, if there's any like security cameras or things that you're able and allowed to look at, it might be a good idea to watch just traffic flow patterns and kind of seeing, do people go left? Do people go right? Or ask the people that work at the front desk. They stand there all day. They usually get a good idea of the people in their viewing. I've also been a customer quite often and walk around the mall and do kind of spy and hang out near my booth to hear things from the customers as they're going by. One of the things I've been recently noticing is in my new space, on the new side, when you walk into my booth, one of the things you really see is furniture paint. And I'm in an antique mall. So see where I'm going with this? A lot of times the people that are on the hunt for antiques and salvage, and although I have those items, when they walk into my booth, they go, oh, this is all paint, and they will leave. And I've seen this done. So for me, this has happened on numerous occasions. I've even heard people skipping the room entirely because there's no antiques in there. When I've heard those statements, like a big bell has gone off in my brain, ding, 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 that I have to do something. I have antiques. I have home goods. I have salvage. I have painted furniture. Sure, I do sell furniture paint and some wholesale items too, but the bulk of what I have is a little bit of everything. And I don't want people to look at my booth and get the wrong idea. That kind of leads me to the next point, and this is the most important. Number 5 is make hard choices. Once you've done all of these other steps and you've gathered all your data and your numbers and your information, this is how you plan for the new year. Now, what am I doing with my information? Well, I'm making some hard choices. One of them is I've decided to give up my tiny booth, which was my very first booth at Plaza Antiques. It was kind of nostalgia that I grabbed it. I also like the idea of having 2 booths so you can easily rotate items between the 2 and make it look fresh without hauling stuff home. I really have a large space. And with 2 booths, my time is spent between the booths when right now I think I need to focus all of my attention back on my large space, making it the best that I can. And remember, I heard those comments about, oh, that's all paint or there's no antiques in here. So one of the hard choices is I did a huge redesign of my booth. I moved super heavy display cases, paint displays, so that when you walk into my booth now, paint is not the first thing you see. This required a lot of time and effort, but I think in the long run, it's really going to help with sales. Another thing that you could do in your booth, if your numbers are not so good, is something really simple, and that is lighting. I am obsessed with lighting. Having good lighting sells. If you can add more lamps, more light bulbs, use those daylight 100-watt anytime you can. Makes your stuff look better. The prettier it looks from the lighting, the better it will be. I spent some time in my booth putting a whole bunch of lights in my display cabinets, replacing them with LED, getting things as bright as I can. And it's constantly a work in progress. Now, the one thing you want to check and make sure you're aware of are the fire codes for your antique mall. Some antique malls do not allow any extension cords. So make sure you know the rules. Otherwise, the mall can get huge fines from the fire marshal when they're inspected, and sometimes those fines are turned back on the dealers. So check with the owner of the mall, make sure you know what's allowed, what's not allowed before you upgrade your lighting. If you're making the hard choices and you decide that something's not working and you need to figure something new out, one of the things you might need to do is just get inspired by like, what can I do? Obviously, walking around your mall is a good place to start, but you can go on Pinterest, which I love, to get great ideas for display. You can visit other antique booths. You can take tours of other antique malls. In fact, if you want some ideas, here's a link to a video. I recently went to another antique mall and saw some great displays that might inspire you too. So once you've gone through all of those 5 steps, now it's time to set your goals. One of the best business advice I've ever been given is do something hard and scary every day. Those hard and scary things are the things you need to do to really help your business, whatever they may be. Every time I have done the hard and the scary, my business has grown. So I hope that will help you. Another little bit of advice that I love is if you're riding a dead horse, get off. Don't stay in a rut. If something is not working, now is the perfect time to change. Over the next couple of weeks, after Christmas to New Year's and even through January, times are pretty slow for shopping. It's not as crazy as before the holidays. Those are good times to make some changes, to get yourself in a position to really do well and be extremely successful in the new year. So get out there. It's time to make some goals. And of course, salvage, repurpose, and create. Best of luck in your booth for the new year.